I mean, first ballot, whatever, however you want to call it. I mean, he's one of the best point guards of all time. So I can say that going in. Now he's no longer those things, but the antics always bothered me. The antics. And he's one of the smartest players I've ever seen play, but it's just for who he was and how good he was, I didn't think he needed some of the antics, and that really bothered me. Just the flopping, the bitching, the complaining, and then again, if you're going to be a flopper, don't try to be the tough guy. And if you're going to be the tough guy, you can't be a tough guy and a flopper. That to me, that doesn't sit right. So we will see how it goes. But I was like really surprised, because I was surprised, one, that's all they could get for Jordan Poole. I thought they'd be able to get more for Jordan Poole if they're looking into moving him. So it tells me that his value was lower than I thought it was. I didn't think it was super high. I thought it was higher than that. And look, Chris Paul's a really good player, but he's 39.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have to buy more bubble wrap next year for this guy.
Maybe they have a bowling team. Maybe they have a bowling team, and they're like, dude, he's gonna raise our average for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a good bowler, Chris Paul.
Maybe they get Mookie Betts, too.
Yeah, well, that's a high price tag. You know?
That's $300 right there. Maybe $300 million and $300 bowling.
Exactly.
So I don't know where he's going to fit in. I'm assuming coming off the bench, but he's never come off the bench, I don't think, in his career. So I don't know how that's going to work. Clearly, they want to win now, and they thought getting Chris Paul was the best option.
You have to win now. You have the window now.
Clearly, they didn't want to pay all of that contract. They realized pretty quickly, like, yeah, we might have overpaid for that one. We need to get that one off our books. So I think a lot of things factored in. They're happy to get rid of the money because Chris Paul makes 30 this year. And next year he gets 30, but it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed until I think June 28th, somewhere right around there. So they don't have to guarantee that contract. They can just get rid of him, and they own nothing. So that saves you a lot of money and opens up a lot of flexibility for you as well. So he'll be coming off the books. Clay will be coming off the books. I mean, they're going to have a lot of maneuverability next year. So I think that appealed to them. I think what also appealed to them is they feel like they have a better chance to win than they did with Jordan Poole.
I think so too. I think he gives you more.
I agree. And I like the trade.
He's your fifth closer.
I like the trade. I don't love it. I don't love it because I thought maybe they could get more for it. I like it because I think they have a better chance of winning a championship next year and maybe the year after.
It adds more flexibility to the team for sure.
Yes, exactly. Right. It's more flexibility, better chance to win in the next couple of years. And whether it works or not, I agree with the philosophy. Screw everything. Let's go for now. Steph's one of the greatest players of all time. Let's try to win while he's still at the top of his game. And last year he proved he's still at the top of his game. Now, I mean, is Draymond the same as he was last year? Is Clay going to be even as good as he was last year? I mean, these things we don't know. But I still think with Chris Paul there, I mean, he's going to give him that toughness. He's going to give him that leadership that he gives teams, and the intelligence is going to raise the IQ in the room. Again, really, really smart basketball player. Can he stay healthy? He wasn't great last year either when he played. I watched a lot of Suns games. He was just...
He had a down year. He started
really
okay and never picked it back up.
Yeah, he was okay. He did not nearly the same. He was not just a third option on that team. He was like 3C. I mean, because Ayton and Durant were 1, 2, 3A, 3B, and then he was after that. Like they were every option. So he wouldn't be expected to score on this team much, maybe a little bit, but it's just having a backup point guard who is savvy and professional and smart and tough and can help you win. So Jordan's going to average 25. So everybody get ready for the outrage when he goes to Washington and averages 25 because there are going to be no expectations. He's going to get shots, and he's going to do his thing. And Jordan's proven when he gets minutes, he's going to get buckets. There is no doubt about that. For him to take that next step, and the reason I like this trade is because, I mean, I think everybody knows I was never the biggest Jordan Poole fan. I appreciated some parts of his game. I knew that he was still young. I didn't like the fact that he bitched at referees all the time. That drove me nuts. Shot selection can get a little goofy from time to time, but you know you'll live with that for a guy who's as talented as he is offensively. He was out of control a lot on offense, made things tougher than he needed to. So that wasn't great.
It's like all the opposite of Chris Paul, by the way.
Yeah, but really, really, I think what bothered me more than anything was just he didn't compete on defense all the time. And, I mean, now we're talking blow-bys and blow-throughs. I mean, guys just bullied him sometimes out there on the court. And there wasn't that, you may do that to me, but I'm going to fight you. I'm going to fight. It's not going to be easy. I may foul you, but it's going to be a hard foul, and I'm going to fight you for that position. There were just a lot of times where guys just, right to the bucket, and that bothered me a little bit. I did like his playmaking ability. He certainly has that, where he can put the ball on the deck, find guys. So it's not like he has value. Like, again, there were a lot of things I liked about him. There were just more that I didn't like about him, and I think this is going to be a good trade. I'm not going to judge the trade by how he does in Washington, because I know how these things go. When you're a talented player like that, you get minutes, you get shots, you're going to put up points, and you're going to look fantastic. There were people bitching and moaning about James Wiseman putting up points and rebounds in Detroit. I'm like, well, somebody has to. They're an NBA team. They're going to get 90 to 110 points in a basketball game. Somebody has to get those points and rebounds, okay? You're not going to get beat 110 to 18. Okay, this isn't like a high school basketball game. So he's going to put up points. And get ready for look at that. They blew it. They gave away one of their best young players who's a very, very talented scorer. It's not about that. Monte did the same thing. Monte was a really good basketball player too, but he was really good on offense. He just wasn't great on defense and didn't do a lot of the things you want a winning basketball, like making winning basketball plays again and again and again. So we'll see how it works out. Again, I like it. I do like it. I didn't love it because I thought maybe there was more out there, but maybe there wasn't. Maybe his value wasn't even as high as I thought it was. I didn't think it was super high, but I thought it was higher than Paul, and maybe I'm underselling Paul a little bit for this year. Maybe he'll be motivated. Again, I just find it hilarious that the Warrior fans are going to be cheering for somebody they hated. Again, we're talking second most, in my opinion, second most despised player in the Kerr era, other than James Harden. Harden's number one, but Paul, because he was the head of the spear for the tip of the spear for the Clippers, and then went over to the Rockets, and they were battling the Rockets too, and they had to deal with all his antics with the Rockets. I think that's pretty funny.
It is funny. It is funny.
I can't wait.
The Warrior fans haven't had that yet. Like,
wait till I see somebody walking around with a Paul jersey.
A Paul 3.
A Warrior Paul.
Which one are you getting?
Jersey.
You gonna get the
oh man.
What,
I'm gonna get the slate.
Yeah, you're gonna
the
get
home
the slate. Cool.
They don't even call them like home whites, road blue. I forget what they call it. Like they have like words for them, like the competition edition or the whatever edition or this
Hardwood
edition.
City Connect, Hardwood Classic.
Yeah, something like everything's got a name now, like a cute little name.
Yeah.
They put on it. You know, you're wearing white uniforms on the road, dark uniforms at home. It's like
you get the Celtics wearing black in the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
what's going on?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Did the Lakers
here?
wear purple ever? I don't think so.
So yeah, but not as much as they used to. Obviously, it used to be purple road, gold home. That was it.
Now they got whites.
Now it's like 4 or 5 different.
Now they got blacks. Right.
Yeah, we can get into this more. We got the Porzingis trade, which you were talking about yesterday, but you were talking about a different trade with Brogdon. I was like, oh damn! First thing I thought of when I saw that trade was, how did they get Porzingis and 2 first round?
Yeah,
two first round picks?
I don't know how they did that.
I thought Washington was going to get the picks. That Boston ended up getting
pure confusion of a 3-team trade. I think like GMs are like, wait, this is going where? They're getting all that stuff at the end.
And here's something to think about. We can talk about it a little bit later. Who would you trade right now for in the NBA for Wembanyama, or who wouldn't you trade? Is there other guys?
How many players
are
there that you wouldn't give up for Wembanyama?
Yeah, how many guys wouldn't you give up for Wembanyama, like right now, for the rest of his career? How many, if any? It's
like the Ohtani question. Would you trade every player in the league for Ohtani? It's like, how many players would you not? Yeah, it's got maybe one hand coming in. Oh, there's John Miller hanging out, stopping by. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll get more into this with Chris Paul, with Mark Spears, ESPN and Anscape, joins us on the other side. It's Tolbert and Copes, only here on the Sports Leader. Well, the Warriors have pulled off a big trade. Jordan Poole going to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Chris Paul. More on that story is trending on the all-new KNBR app.
for Mark Spears to put down the pen and pick up the mic. Here's the senior NBA writer for Anscape.com with Tolbert and Copes on KNBR 104.5 and 6.8 and KNBR.com, the sports leader.
A lot going on in the NBA, and we haven't even gotten to the draft yet. We got big trade after big trade, and to help us break it all down, Anscape.com's Mark Spears. What's going on, Mr. Spears?
Man, just got to Barclays Center. It's an absolute zoo here. It's I will say this, being in the green room is certainly a lot different now than it was before. I swear, they got like 800 players that got invited to the green room now. It takes up most of the floor, and the media's obviously got pushed to the corner. But, yeah, man, I just saw Wembanyama. He's still tall. It's going to be a great event.
So give us your thoughts on Jordan Poole for Chris Paul.
To say I'm done is an understatement. I know Chris Paul wanted to be out west. I would have. Tom, I'm still stunned, man. I don't really know what to think. I just didn't see that one coming. I'm not stunned that Jordan got moved. I kind of felt like such was likely, but for Chris Paul, man.
Let me ask you this.
Believe it or not, the word is I'm hearing that he will start, or he at least expects to start. And I do think that the fact that the Warriors are clearing that much salary perhaps is also a good sign that Draymond Green will be back.
Do you think – here's what I thought. It only shocked me because I thought they could get more than Chris Paul. Chris Paul is on the decline. We know that. He's 39, can be injury prone. But apparently – I don't know what you've learned talking to people. Maybe Jordan Poole's value wasn't that high.
Poole, exactly. I mean, I was about to say that. What value did he have?
I mean, he's going to score 25 a game in Washington.
No question. I mean,
getting buckets.
But I'm just saying is, I don't think I'd probably value Chris Paul maybe more than you do.
Okay. No, I valued Chris Paul a lot.
Yeah.
Past tense.
He's a first-round pick talent in my mind, right?
Yeah. But no, I mean, there's method to the madness as well. Like, you lose a lot of salary, right? And you got to give up something to get something. And in a sense, like moving Wiseman's contract, which I wasn't a fan of, but it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Moving Poole's contract, I mean, it sticks with the older movement, right? Like, now they're going for it now. Now, what this team look like in 5 years, it's certainly anybody's guess. But that basically tells me right now that Steve and company and the new GM, they want to go old and they want to try to win now.
If you were to rank the players in the NBA by IQ, I think I would have Chris Paul in the top 5. I would have Draymond in the top 5. Yeah. Is there any other team you think, or any other roster that has 2 top 5 IQ players that could be closing out games come playoff time?
IQ-wise, no. I had a referee tell me that Chris Paul knew the rules better than anyone in the league. He said probably knew the rules better than some referees. So the gamemanship between those two minds together, I mean, absolutely crazy. And I think that Chris will also, because he's playing with these two guys, he's going to get meaning Clay and Steph, he's going to get the easiest open shots of his life in a way that you expected him to get in Phoenix. Also, the Warriors, I think, can also bring the best out of him in terms of he doesn't have to play 35 minutes for them to succeed. He doesn't have to play 40 minutes. You can play him 25, 35 at most. I'm guessing he'll be in the 25 to 30 range. And I think it's that range where you'll see him at his best and also see him at the healthiest.
Where does this put them in your mind in the West?
I still got to see what else they do. The lack of size still scares me as it has done before. They still got their pick, right? I want to see if they pick up some size tonight. I wrote about Lively from Duke, 7-1 center. He'll probably be gone, long gone by then. The big kid from Connecticut, I'm wondering if he's around. There's a couple really big guys in this draft. How much can they help them now? I don't know. But I really need to see what the rest of the roster is going to look like, because it's, that if Chris is starting, Draymond is back. Draymond's playing center. Wiggs is playing power forward. I mean, that is a powerful offensive lineup, but they better score, because defensively they're going to get beat up.
Yeah.
Talking to Mark Spears on the Yuma guest line, I actually, when I heard the trade, I didn't anticipate he'd be a starter. I thought of him as the sixth man.
I don't disagree with that notion. What I heard is he's starting.
I know.
Well, I guess you got to have Draymond before he can be the sixth man, right? You got to officially have Draymond for that. But
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the notion I get is he's starting. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Chris Paul moved to the Warriors. He's like, yeah.
People agree with that or not? I just was told that he's starting.
All right, what do you make of the Porzingis trade with Smart going to Memphis? And Memphis paid a lot, but obviously they were going to do anything to get an adult in the room. Just get any leadership in there, any leadership they could get, they were going to get it, and so they paid a pretty hefty price for it. But Boston gets Porzingis. I'm still not sure how that's going to work out. But what do you make of that whole trade?
Well, I mean, you just took a big piece of the heart and soul out of the Celtics.
Yeah, man.
No doubt.
Keep in mind that Brogdon has an undisclosed major injury. So who's your starting point guard? Pritchard? Like, who's going to start at point guard for now?
White, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, White perhaps, or maybe they pick up somebody else. But if there was a team that needed no holds barred, honest vet that's going to grab your respect in the locker room, it's the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yep.
And he'll be straight to tell them, y'all ain't done nothing, shut up. You too, Ja. I think he'll be a great mentor for Ja, somebody they can learn from. He's been in the finals. They haven't. So I think they should add a couple more vets too. But I love the move from Memphis. In terms of Boston, I mean, you got an amazing third scorer. But he's a box of chocolate player, man. I don't know what you're going to get from one night to the next, right? But if he's your third scorer, that's a really great third scorer to have. So it gives them more firepower, but, man, that defense, that heart, that grit, I think most Celtics fans are probably mourning his departure. Like, he was really beloved there.
Yeah, that's a defensive heartbeat, another smart player, defensive player. Yeah, it's a big time loss for them. Talking to Mark Spears on the Yuma guest line, NBA draft coming up this evening. Is there? Well, let me phrase it this way, Mark. What are you hearing about other big players that could be moved tonight? You understand? I said, what are you hearing about other big players?
Well, I'm keeping an eye on Toronto.
Okay.
Like I heard,
Siakam
reporting. Yeah. Somebody told me that to keep an eye on Portland potentially having interest with him in him if they were to move the third pick. I mean, again, this is a rumor. This is nothing for us to tweet out here. I'm just telling you something I heard last night, but the same person told me about the Porzingis thing too. So, but I'm going to kind of keep an eye on that. So I'm watching that. But I think the major domino is Hero and Lowry in Miami. Like, can they garner some interest still? Like, anytime somebody says somebody's not going to be traded, I expect them to be traded now. So, all that Damon Lillard stuff where it's locked down, he ain't going nowhere. I'm half waiting for it to happen now because they said that. So just kind of watching that, because I just can't see him playing in a young rebuilding environment. So to me, like, Portland is a team to watch. Whether they keep the number 2, if they keep the number 3 pick, even though they really think Scoot, if he's there, is going to be a great player. I just can't see Dame staying, right? But could they move it to bring in a player to make Dame more happy to be there? So if there was one team I'm watching, it's Portland.
All right, before we let you run, you're at the draft, and Victor Wembanyama is there, and maybe the most hyped prospect of all time, quite possibly. Let me ask you this. We know how good he can be, at least I think we do when we watch him play. Off the top of your head, who wouldn't you trade? Who wouldn't you trade for him in the NBA right now, today, moving forward?
Mm-hmm. I think everybody's on the table.
See, I picked 2.
I'm buying.
Okay, I got Jokic and Giannis. I wouldn't trade.
They're too unique. That's kind of where I was too.
They're 2, and then I thought about Luka, but I'm not.
I would trade Luka. Yeah.
If you're Milwaukee, you would trade Giannis for Wembanyama?
Yes.
Really? Dude, he's only like, what, 26? 27? Good night.
I saw this unicorn play in Vegas, and just what I saw was something I've never thought I'd see. So if he ends up being anything close to what I project him to be, that what others project to be, I mean, it could be the greatest thing we've ever seen. So, I would take the risk.
So we're talking ceiling of greatest player of all time. That's what we're saying the ceiling is for Wembanyama?
It actually is.
I mean, I don't think we've said that since LeBron, right? And even then, I don't know that anybody said that. He was a freak, but he was that's outrageous.
I saw LeBron first, early on. I saw in his rookie year, I saw Yao. I saw Kobe as a rookie. Right. I mean, but this is the only guy I've seen where I watched him before he got drafted, and my mouth was agape, and I just couldn't believe what I was watching. So that's saying a lot for me to say that, but if I had to roll the dice on somebody, it would be him. Yeah.
So, heck, you would take him over LeBron at that same age.
Yeah.
Wow. But you wouldn't take him over LeBron. You wouldn't take him over LeBron knowing what we know now.
No.
Okay, thank God. You do have some sense.
At that age, we're talking like, it's just, I think when you guys see him play, when he comes to San Francisco and you see him play, you'll understand. You gotta see it. Like, the video doesn't do it justice.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. You got to see it in person, and then you'll probably feel the same. I'm not just saying that for shock value or anything like that.
No, I know.
What I saw, man, was about as incredible as the thing as I've ever seen.
What impressed you the most? Like, did he do something spectacular? I know he had a putback dunk at one point off of a 3 that he missed. Remember that? I saw that video and I was like, "What the hell was that about?" I was like, "That doesn't happen."
Well, it was the skill set at that size, and the fact that the court is going to be more spaced than it is internationally. There's not really going to be any zones. And I remember I talked to C.J. McCollum about this. I'm like, his first NBA, kind of game in the G League, right, playing against the G League Ignite, this was like 7 of 11 three-pointers at 7'5", which means, and you can't block the shot. And C.J. McCollum told me, he's like, how many NBA players do you think can make 7 of 11 threes sitting in a gym by themselves? He made 7 of 11 in his first NBA-style game. At, 17? Come on, man. 18? 27.5? Come on.
I remember when Yao made his first 3. He threw his arms up into the air and did some wires.
I'll put the house on that.
Okay. Wow. Very, very good.
I'll take that bet.
Ceiling is too high. Ceiling's too high, man. And I get it. But the potential is just too great for me not to roll the dice on.
Okay. I got it. All right. Who's going number 2? Henderson or Miller?
You know what? I'm gonna go on a limb and say Scoop.
You gonna go Scoop? I know it's been bouncing back and forth all day. They have like odds on it, and 1 hour Scoots is a favorite, 1 hour Miller is a favorite.
Yeah, I just think. I think if it's me, I take Scoop.
Okay.
Based on how the Hornets kick, they take Miller. and that's not to say that they're both not amazing players. I just think that the red flags for Miller, having somebody in the Hornets organization that just had a domestic violence issue, like it's just too much. You know, Ja's recent situation, like to me, like Brandon Miller has to be, and again, respectively, like way better than Scoot, whose character is a Steph Curry level, for me not to play it safe and take care.
Yeah. Unfortunately, his jump shot's
like,
not near that level.
But so that means that the Hornets will probably take Brandon Miller, who's a phenomenal player, but there's just obviously a lot that goes with it. And so myself, I'd take Scoot, man.
Okay.
Scoot
So let me ask you this.
Not only a talented prospect, but one of the best people I've ever met in my life.
We know how you feel about Wembanyama, but let me ask you this: if you had a chance right now to make $1,000, an easy $1,000, would you risk $100,000 on Wembanyama going number 1 to make $1,000?
No.
Is that where we're at right now?
He says, "I love him."
My uncle told me like some horse bets that were, you know, obviously number 1 going to work, and they always go bad. So no, I don't bet.
Come on, you can go on bad beats.
Hey, Scott, you're not going to believe this.
I thought for sure he was going number 1.
We're talking Monopoly money, sure.
Yeah, sure. No
Stanford
problem.
Steve, I bet on Wembanyama. Get this.
Oh, man. All right, Mark, have a good time at the draft tonight.
I know it sounds crazy, but he's special, man.
Okay.
We're really seeing somebody.
Now,
I'm excited.
I think we're all excited. We are definitely all excited to get a chance to watch him play next year. Have a good night at the draft, and we'll talk to you next week, my friend.
All right. Take care,
All right,
guys.
Mark. Take it easy.
All right, good stuff. We have plenty more to get into with the Jordan Poole trade for Chris Paul from earlier today, and pretty big words there from Mark Spears saying he thinks the ceiling for Wembanyama is greatest player of all time.
Wow.
Hey, that's
wow.
high praise. I mean, that's not something that you just say. And he's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like he was trying to not oversell it, but say, like, I don't know what else I can tell you that this is. He said, I never thought I'd see something like this before, which is pretty. I mean, the putback dunk off a missed 3 was just like, that's weird talent.
Yeah, that was silly.
That's not what guys do, man. That's like a and one mixtape stuff. So,
Yeah.
Should remind you that the KNBR and Giants Community Fund auction is going on right now. Visit sfgiants.com/GCF. Place your bid on one of the new unique Giants experiences. Bidding is going to end on Sunday, June 25th at 9 p.m. So place your bid soon. It's going to support the Giants Community Fund in the annual KNBR auction, featuring an opportunity to throw out the first pitch or be a ball dude or ball dudette for a game. You can bid now, sfgiants.com/GCF, and place your bid again by June 25th. It closes at 9 p.m. on June 25th. That's the KNBR and Giants Community Fund auction. On the other side, Jordan Poole out, Chris Paul in. What does the move mean for the Warriors? We'll see next. We'll talk about that next and what impact this is going to have on the starting and closing lineups. Tolbert and Copes, I'm live from the bunker at Oracle Park, only here on the Sports Leader. The Giants' 10-game winning streak came to an end today. A big thud, losing 10-0 to the Padres. That story and more, if you want to read any of it, it's trending at KNBR.com.
Helena. Shout out to you for supporting KNBR, St. Helena's sports leader.
Now back to Tom Tolbert and Adam Copeland. Tolbert and Copes. Download the KNBR app and listen anywhere, anytime. We are KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
We love having those guys here. Jordan, especially with his contract extension, plan to have him here for 4 more years at least.
Monster breaking news, including a future Hall of Famer, Adrian Wojnarowski, still on the desk with us. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, Cassidy, a big one. The Washington Wizards have agreed to send Chris Paul to the Golden State Warriors for Jordan Poole and 2 future draft picks, a first-round pick, a second-round pick. And listen, this is the completion of that Bradley Beal trade with the Phoenix Suns. The Wizards have been looking for a situation to move Chris Paul onto. And now the Warriors step in, bring in Chris Paul to play with Klay Thompson, obviously Steph Curry, and move out Jordan Poole, who will start a new 4-year, $140 million contract extension this season.
There was Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN talking about the trade from earlier today. Jordan Poole out. Everybody out of the pool is what it is, especially the Warriors. They're out of the pool party. Chris Paul comes in. I imagine I've seen tons of tweets about it. I was at the Giants game today, and that was like the topic of discussion. They broke in on the Giants game TV broadcast.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's like, dude, it's major news, and you know that the Warriors are a major draw here when you see that they're breaking in to tell you a story about that. Now, this reminds me a lot of the Richard Sherman move, and we can talk more about that, like hated players coming to your team. He was fantastic coming off an injury. Chris Paul, the reason I think he's got to be a bench player, ideally, and when Mark Spears says to us, I'm hearing he's going to start. He says, no, you get what I'm saying? I'm here and he's going to start. I'm like, okay, so somebody told you Chris Paul's starting. He didn't sign the contract. They didn't go to him and say, hey, will you sign to come here and agree to be a starter? He says, yeah, if I start, I'll come. They're going to use him, I think, in whatever way they can to use a championship. And to me, I was just looking at his stats. He's never averaged fewer than 30, like he's never played less than 30 points a game in his career, which fits because he's been a starter. And he's been
30 minutes.
30 minutes a game, sorry. But he did shoot the lowest field goal percentage last year, 44%. That's the lowest that he had in about 4 years. He's only shot below that twice in his career, and it was the first 2 years of his career. So his shooting wasn't great last year, to your point. I think you get the most usage out of him, to your point, Tom, 25 to 30 minutes a night. They manage the games played, and you hope you can use him and pick your spots so that he's healthy come playoff time. I think when you have this sort of smarts and firepower, if you don't have Draymond in a game and you have Paul or vice versa, I think you don't lose a lot as far as like mental mistakes will go, right? They're not going to hurt you mentally. Jordan Poole could. I just think that the floor for this move is not very low at all. The ceiling for this is a championship, and I don't know that the floor was as high as it is when Jordan Poole was here.
Yeah, I agree. But let's also recognize that they won a championship with Jordan Poole as well. So they could win one. They could have won one next year, possibly.
Which is why that's the ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. So again, I would have done it. I would have taken the chance. I'm sure Jordan Poole is probably happy too. He gets to go start. You're going to get starting. You're going to get starters minutes. He gets a fresh start. He got his championship. He got his money. He can get some shots, get some points, and kind of be the guy on a team where it was going to be another 3 years before he was going to be the guy on this team. So it's probably going to work out better for him as well. I liked it. Again, I didn't love it because I thought they could get more. Maybe they couldn't. Maybe this was I don't know if this is what they wanted.
Maybe the money is why that's the value. Maybe that's why you don't get more.
Well, there's a possibility because, again, they don't owe Chris Paul anything after this year. If he's on the roster at the end of June, I think 29th or after the 28th, then they'll guarantee the contract.
Right, $30 million, right?
And then Clay is going to be off. Before yesterday. Look, we've said it. He's a veteran. He's tough as hell. He's smart. Super high basketball IQ, but the skills are noticeably in decline. got hurt last year in the playoffs. You're going to try your best to keep him healthy throughout the course of the year. So, yeah, 25 to 30 minutes sounds about right for him. He'll definitely be a part of the closing unit, whether he's a starter or not. I don't know who comes. I mean, Looney out of the starting lineup. You're going to start Draymond at center.
That's what Mark was saying. If he does start, but I don't know that the Warriors, like, how do they see that as the more valuable move, that Looney were to come off the bench? Like, that's not that can't be what you're based on the way they've run the roster for the last 5 years. That's not the way they've done things to go with Draymond there. Now you start talking playoffs, you can mix and match starters and go smaller sets, and you'd see more minutes from them. But the issue that I've always had with Chris Paul, and maybe it was partially the Warriors' fault for doing this to him, he used to get the brakes beat off him in the playoffs, man. They would whoop his ass, and then he would get hurt. Like, that's just kind of what would happen year after year after year. And so they would carry him into the postseason. He would be on these dominant teams, and then inevitably he would go down with injury. But they were relying on him for too much, I think, was really the issue. If you're not relying on him for these types of minutes and to be your key scorer and key distributor and just to be the guy who can run the second unit, I think you're in good shape there. If you're taking Looney out of the starting lineup, I think you're hurting yourself. I mean, we saw what this guy's doing in the playoffs. I want Looney out there.
Yeah, and then you're not going to have Looney out. I mean, I guess you could have Looney out there at the end if you're not going to have...
Depends on matchup, probably.
I mean, who knows? What if they ask Clay to come off the bench? Now, that would be something. They tried to pull that one. Have Clay come off the bench.
For CP3. This is what I'm saying. Is like, can you imagine? Oh, yeah, dude.
That is a my God.
That's
that'd be like, are you kidding me? Yeah. All the championships this guy's won here, and you're going to be small, a lot smaller in the backcourt. So I don't see that as a possibility. I don't see Wiggins. I mean, Looney seems to be the only option, and it just seems weird. You're putting it if he does start. I'm still not convinced that he will, but if he does, then you're starting and look at that again. If I had to say right now, I would say he's not starting. Because I just can't see it. I can't see Looney. I know Looney can come off the bench. Hell, Looney's going to do whatever you ask him to, and he's going to have a great attitude about it. But it would be wild to have Draymond like 6'7" starting at center, and Wiggins as your power forward. Yeah, that just that would be brutal. That would just be brutal. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And even in the closing lineup, okay, who's he closing for? I mean, is Looney going to be off the court when you need a rebound at the end of the game? Are you going to be able to get that rebound when your best rebounder is sitting on the bench? So I don't know. Again, there's a lot I like about this, but there are some question marks here. There's no doubt some question marks. I would have done it, like the trade, don't love the trade, but it's not just, oh, yeah. Yeah, I would do that. Like, if he was 31, of course. But guess what? You ain't getting a 31-year-old Chris Paul for Jordan Poole. That ain't happening. So he was a lot more valuable back then. So this is what you get when you get a 39-year-old. So where does he play? What do the lineups look like to close more so than start? I don't even really worry about starting, but
it's the closing I'm thinking about.
What do they look? What does it look like when you close? I mean, can he stay healthy? How good is he? How much more of a decline does he take? How much more of a dip does he take this year? Because watching him last year, he wasn't nearly the guy that you remember even from a couple years ago when they were in the finals. They're just not that guy anymore. So I don't know, but I think from the Warriors, they're like, well, hey, let's give it a shot. We think he can help us win a championship. I'm sure they already have the vision, how he fits in, how they're going to, what lineups they're going to have with him. And I wouldn't worry about him fitting in so much because he's really smart, and that won't be a problem. But as a bonus, you're going to get a lot more financial flexibility as well, which they were going to be up against it there starting next year. So, I mean, they're like I said, more positives for me than negatives in this trade, but it's not one I look at and go, oh yeah, I would have done that. I do look at it and go, okay, I get it, I would have done it, but there are some things there that could go sideways and maybe not have this thing work out as well as you had hoped. But I do appreciate them saying, you know what, screw timelines, run one timeline. Run Steph's timeline. We're going to try to win as many championships between now and the time that Steph starts declining as we possibly can. That I appreciate. I think that's the right mindset to have.
I kind of like the idea of Mike Dunleavy just kind of being like, F everybody. You know, he's like drilling cigarettes right now. He's like sitting in the draft room. He's got his feet up. He's like, I don't know, man. I'm trying to win us a championship, man. I'm looking for the right guys. I don't care what anybody thinks about him. I don't care if they hate him. I don't care if he's been a villain. We're trying to. This guy can help us win.
He's
Put him
going
out
to
there,
be
man.
here 4 more years.
Screw these nice guys. Give me some a-holes that can play, man. I want to win a
Did
title.
I say 4 years? I meant 4 days.
Yeah, dude. I like the idea of Mike Dunleavy, just a grumpy old man already, dude. He's been on the job for a week.
I like the idea of Bob Myers laughing, just like driving down to SoCal in his
like,
car.
thank God I'm not dealing with this.
Drop top right now going, woo, I'm out, baby.
That's so funny, man. I mean, this is the first Mike Dunleavy move. And it you know, we were talking yesterday. Let me ask you this, because we talked yesterday about Steve's say-so in his impact in this stuff, right? Like you're saying he's not the guy who's making the call exactly, but he gives input. It's a collaborative effort. How much of what, like, I don't think it's out of line to say that Jordan Poole, some faith was lost in Jordan Poole. I mean, the fan base felt that way, but he wasn't used the same way because he didn't
look at the
produce
minutes
in the postseason. It's obvious based on how they played him and how they used him and when they used him at the end of games or lack thereof. Does that play? I mean, obviously that plays a role in this, but is there a direct do they go to Steve and talk to him about this move? Because this is a big move. This is something that he has a say-so in.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And if he was like vehemently against it, I'm sure they would have talked it through. And
Dunleavy's like, you want a cigarette, Steve?
tried to come to a consensus opinion. Like when they were thinking about trading Clay and Draymond for Kevin Love.
Right.
He was against that, but that wasn't a clean sweep. I mean, they had to debate that.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you know, Bob was the guy that made the decision, and he was the one that said, you know what, we just brought Steve in. I got to let him. He came in here and he took the job because of this roster. I got to let him see what he can do with this roster. It just makes no sense to hire a coach and then pull the rug out from under him and switch rosters on him. So Bob was the one, but I mean, there was input from everybody. Like everybody, he had input. Travis Schlenk had input. Jerry West had input. Joe Lacob had input. So there were a lot of people that had, and then that's Dunleavy's job. He's ultimately going to have to make that decision. That is his decision. Now, I mean, if Lacob were to just say no, hell no, not a chance in hell we're doing this, or oh yeah, we are doing this, I don't care what you guys say, then he owns the teams. But I don't think that's the way they work over there. I mean, everybody has strong opinions, and ultimately the GM's going to make that decision on whether to pull the trigger on this. But yeah, I think everybody was had some input on this one. So, and again, I think you know what, this I think it's a solid deal in that you're trying to win. I think it gives you a little bit better chance of winning. Again, they did win with Jordan Poole, so it's not like they couldn't win with Jordan Poole. But I think this gives you a little better chance, and you get the bonus of that financial flexibility after next year.
Well, the Washington Wizards, 4 or 5 days ago, sent Bradley Beal to the Phoenix Suns in exchange for Chris Paul. The Wizards then agreed to send Chris Paul today to the Warriors in exchange for Jordan Poole. Wizards are also going to get from the Warriors a protected, do we know what the stipulations are on that yet? We'll try to get those to you. It's a protected 2030 first-round pick. So Dunleavy's like, I'll deal with that in 7 years. 2027 second-round pick is also what the Wizards are going to receive. But Chris Paul, one of the most hated villains of this Warrior dynasty, is now a Golden State Warrior. We will discuss this more on the other side. I'm wondering how much of the Jordan Poole Draymond situation. I mean, this is something that I think we'll never have the answer to, but it's something that will be talked about, I think, because it will be tied to Jordan Poole's career. It's what sort of set this into action, or what feels that way, based on his step back performance this past year. He was great 2 years ago, not so much after the incident with Draymond to start this year. He got his contract, and now he's a Wizard. We'll talk about that next on the Sports Leader.
Hey everybody, Mr. T here for NorCal Honda and my Pilot. I've been driving a Pilot now for about 10 years. Things I love about the Pilot: room, plenty of room. I'm 6'8", family's pretty big, friends even bigger, and we usually all go together to Tahoe. We'll be doing it about a month now. We do it every year. Go up there and play some golf and hang out. Got to have room for the bodies, the clubs, and the gear. Plenty of room. Never had to worry about room with the Pilot. They got the little handy bottom section too. I don't even know. It's like a secret little you could hide. You can't hide a person in there. Why would you want to hide a person in there? Maybe a baby, but you could certainly put a bunch of clothes in there. Maybe case of beer. So I always like that. Great sound system. Got the TV set up in the back for the kids. If you have kids, you want to here, put your headphones on, watch some Scooby-Doo or something, and enjoy. So great sound system. And they got the safety features, the rear view angle camera, helping you park. You got the lane switch, which pulls you back if you're drifting out of your lane, braking. And the thing I don't use, I've only used it a couple times, is the autopilot or the cruise control, I guess. But it is pretty cool doing the cruise control, stretch out the legs a little bit, maybe take a little nap and wake up and you're there. Actually, don't do that, please. Please don't do that and say I told you to do that. Disclaimer, do not do that. No one would be dumb enough to do that, would they? I don't think so. But just in case, don't do that because I certainly didn't do that. So you get plenty of room. Plenty of safety. Oh, yeah, and regular gasoline. Love the regular gas. Get to save a little money, and you get great MPGs as well. So if you're looking for a mid-size SUV that is, and a lot of fun to drive as well. A lot more fun than maybe you think a Honda would be to drive. You get the fun features, the fun driving, the gas, it's just everything. Mid-size SUV. Make sure you check out a Honda. They got great deals going on right now at your NorCal Honda dealers. For more info, ask anyone who owns a Honda like me or visit NorCalHondaDealers.com.
Listen to the sports leader anywhere, anytime. Download the all-new KNBR app. Now, Tolbert and Copes continue live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Studio. Casino Matrix progressive jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Do you feel like maybe the events in the preseason impacted the whole season? Did it feel like it lingered to you? And what was the impact that it had on this year?
I mean, we ready to the second round of the playoffs. You know, we had a good season, and guys stepped up. We had a lot of exciting moments. So I mean, I don't think there's anything that was, changing any of that.
Jordan Poole headed out to Capitol Hill, going back to the White House. Jordan Poole, a member of the Washington Wizards. It's funny, yesterday, Tom, we were talking about if Draymond were to leave, we were like, I can't see it happening. If he went somewhere, it would have to be a title contender. That's why the Lakers seem like a fit. He's good friends with LeBron, but it seems like he's coming back, and we'll talk more about what this move means for Draymond. But I think I don't know that we're ever going to be able to think about Jordan Poole and not think about the final season that he had here, because he had taken, part of it is the huge step forward that he took last year, right? In that, I don't think anybody would tell you that they win that championship without him. He and Andrew Wiggins were huge parts of that sort of retool and relaunch of what they thought was going to be a couple more championships. And now Wiggins still here, of course, but I think it's going to be really hard to think about. I think we're always going to think about the punch in relation to Jordan Poole's ending his career as a Golden State Warrior. I can't feel like those two things aren't connected.
Yeah,
we'll never know for sure. It's just I think that's the optics of it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I'm not sure how that affected the team as the season went on. I'm sure it affected him somewhat. I just don't know in what way. I mean, Jordan had a really good run with the Warriors last year. When Steph was out, he averaged over 20 points a game. I mean, he was really, really good. It just toward the end of the season, he wasn't, and during the playoffs, he wasn't near what he was the year before in the playoffs. So I know a lot of people are not happy with this trade. And I don't know if it's mostly because they can't stand Chris Paul.
That's got to be most of it. It's the emotion behind
it. They love Jordan Poole. Like there are a lot of people that like Jordan Poole out there. They felt like everybody loves Steph, right? Everybody loves Clay. The new young warrior, going to kind of latch onto him, and he was really good.
It's the Giants thing. It's our guy. You latch onto your guys. It's your guy.
Helped him win a championship. Right. He had to fight through a lot of adversity to get to where he was. He wasn't very good early on.
19 years old when he got here.
Yeah. I mean, in the same way, they were upset. How many people were upset when they traded away Monte Ellis? Tons of Warrior fans were upset when they traded away Monte Ellis because, let's be honest, most basketball fans just like guys who can score.
Yeah.
If you can score, they're a fan of yours because that's kind of what they look like. Oh, he had a good game. He scored well. That's not the game of basketball. That's one aspect of the game. It certainly helps your team win if you're someone who could put the ball in the hole like he can. There's not a lot of guys that they can do it as well as he can. Maybe in the NBA, a couple guys, but there's still that's hard to score 20-plus games if you can average that in the NBA, and which I think he will do easily next year if he stays healthy. But there's a lot more that goes into a game than scoring, and a lot of fans just don't get that. So they see him. He's exciting. He's hitting 30-footers. He's hitting some really tough shots, and he's engaging with the crowd, and a certain part of the fan base likes that. But there's those type of players, and there's players that can help you win. And while he did help them win last year, it was a smaller role. Question was going to be, if Clay wasn't here and Steph started dwindling and he became one of the best players, if not the best player in your team, how is that team going to look? Was that going to be a team that could compete for a championship?
Kind of feels like a Monte team.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Kind of feels like a Monte Ellis team with a three-point shooter instead of a mid-range.
Yeah, and he was a good player. He was a solid player.
He's a better
solid
six-man.
Solid NBA player. But it wasn't like he was winning a lot. Yeah. And he was one of the best guys, and maybe the best guy on that team. So I can imagine a team with Jordan Poole as the best player. I don't think that team wins. I don't think certainly don't win a championship. No. And I think the Warriors were kind of projecting down the line a little bit on this one. And we'll see. We'll see how Jordan Poole's career turns out. He'll probably get another big contract. Again, he's going to score a lot of points. He'll have a lot of fans. He'll hit some 30, 35-footers. He's going to have games where he just gets blisteringly hot, and he'll get 50. It wouldn't surprise me if he got 50 next year in a game where he just went ballistic because he can do those sort of things. So
he's combustible. He does.
Yeah, have that. There's no doubt about it. So I think there's a lot of fans that aren't real happy that they traded him, and then they weren't real thrilled that Chris Paul came in return. And maybe part of it is they didn't like him to begin with because they always couldn't like him because he was the nemesis when he played for the Clippers and Rockets, and even the Suns a little bit, but mostly his entire career. But maybe part of it is, what are we doing? We just traded a young guy who's getting better, who can score, for a 39-year-old whose best days are way behind him. So I get that too, but this is one, again, I would not hesitate to do this one. It's not foolproof. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. But I wouldn't have hesitated.
And the reason, it's not foolproof, but the reason I'm even more on it is the open flexibility that we said it gives you. After this year, you're out of this. You were going to be in Jordan Poole for 4 more years.
Yep.
And if he took another step back, then you're hooked to that contract, and nobody's taking. They're getting less than this, maybe.
Yep.
You have a first-rounder protected 7 years down the road and a second-rounder. You get out of the Jordan Poole contract, which, again, is not like something that's going to hamstring you, but it makes things a lot different for how you can go about Draymond Green and how you go about Klay Thompson next offseason, and maybe opens you up to being able to bring some other guys in and sprinkle more vets. So I think is that what has to happen? I mean, I don't know that you say Chris Paul just has to play better than Jordan Poole did in the playoffs. I think for this organization, it's always with Steph here, championship or bust. That's the goal every single season. You have this window, why not? That's why you make this trade. But for fans to feel okay about Chris Paul, because they don't like him, and all the bad blood that's been built up. I don't think he plays in extremely beautiful brand of basketball. He's hacking, he's arguing, he's obnoxious, but everybody would say that about Draymond too, looking in on the Warriors. So it's a little bit different when he's doing it for you. I just wonder, does he have to? I don't think he has to play that great for them to be good. We talked yesterday about the impact he makes. Like I don't know. He doesn't have to exceed Jordan Poole's production, I don't think, in order for them to be successful.
Well, here's the thing. He'll make winning basketball plays.
That's what I'm.
He's
that's
going to help
term
you.
I'm looking for.
He's going to help you win without loading up the box score. He knows how to make he knows how to make the right pass, the right read on defense. He gets it. Like he's the smartest player in the league when it comes to 2 for 1.
Right.
He always Steph's great at 2 for 1 on offense. But Chris Paul's one of the first guys I ever saw that would take away 2 for 1 opportunities on defense by getting up and pressuring.
He'll just do it right when you get the ball,
the ball handler. Yeah, he wouldn't let you dribble down and get off a shot. Like a lot of defenses will just play back. Guy comes down, comes off a pick, and shoots it, maybe even be a 28-footer, but he'll get a shot off with 32 seconds left and gives you a perfect 2 for 1. Well, Chris Paul, if he notices that, he's going to get up in you and turn you and force you to go left, go right, and he's going to try to get it under 30 seconds and make that 2 for 1 kind of shrink. And I remember seeing that. I go, that's really smart. And nobody else thinks of that. They don't think of the opportunity, and it makes perfect sense. It's an extra possession you're getting, and then you may end up getting 2 of those throughout the course of a game. That could be the difference in the game. Like, that's what we're talking about here when we're talking about thinking the game. He understands little stuff like that before other people understand it, and then it finds a way to put it into practice. So, and it's not just those things, but that'll give you an idea of how he thinks the game, and those are winning basketball plays. That's what I'm talking about. Like, there are plays during the game that might not even, that's not going to show up in a box score. It's not going to show up getting a 2 for 1 or taking away a 2 for 1, but you're taking away an opportunity for your opponent, or you're giving yourself an extra opportunity. Those are winning basketball plays.
Yeah, and you pair 2 of the smartest players in the game with the greatest shooter of all time and another one of the greatest shooters of all time in a closing lineup. I feel pretty good about that. I mean, if we're talking about Chris Paul on the floor in place of Jordan Poole at the end of playoff games, and you swap his $28 million salary for Chris Paul, he's at $30.8 next year, but it doesn't run through 2027. That was going to cost the Warriors a lot more. In those tax penalties, too, don't forget this rule now that they've completely they've clamped down because the Warriors are so damn good and doing things the right way that the NBA has changed some of these rules. So it feels like a win-win. It is sort of funny, though, that Washington gets off of Bradley Beal, who's kind of one of those pure scorer guys, and picks up Jordan Poole. So they've got work to do, obviously, but they've got a young player, and can
they
get a look
always
at him.
have work to do.
They've always got work, man. I don't know what the
when
Wizards
haven't they had work to do?
I was like, and then they get rid of guys, and then they end up like Rip Hamilton. I was like, man, he was kind of a solid player. And then he went elsewhere. I was like, oh, dude, he is really good. That's right. Okay, they probably should have held on to him. So anyway, Warrior fans, I know we're upset about Chris Paul himself. I do think that this is a winning basketball move. Mike Dunleavy, his first big splash. The NBA draft gets going in about 15 minutes, and we'll keep you updated as to who Wembanyama goes to. What'd you say he was at, minus 1,000? Minus 10,000?
10,000. I think it would cost you 100,000
to win 10,000.
To win, so it's 100 to 1. Yeah, at the 100,000 you can win 1,000.
Oh, you want it?
Like, that's some stones. It's like a free 1,000. It's like a free $1,000. They're just giving you free but if something goes wrong, what if a medical comes back like right before? you're out $100,000
on a draft pick, dude. Not even on a game. You didn't even get like 3 hours of enjoyment.
And after it happens, though, you're like, I could have just won a free $1,000. Easy. I mean, he's the most for sure pick of all picks to go number 1. We all know he's going number 1.
Where's Mattress Mac? What's he put on?
It's a lot easier to say we know he's going number 1. Like I know he's going number 1. I guarantee you he's going number 1. I wouldn't guarantee you so much, but $100,000 on it though. Like that's a whole different thing when you got to like back up your claim with $100,000 to only win 1,000. Like that you're gonna, even though we know it's gonna happen, you are going to be sweating for about 20 minutes, like just in case.
Adam Silver's up there saying,
better see
the partners.
You better see Adam Silver's lips go like this. He better be forming a V. It better not be like a scoot. If he goes the number one pick, I just lost $100,000 to try to win 1,000. What kind of idiot am I? But after it's over, we're gonna be like, look,
why did I do that?
You could have won 1,000. I could have won 1,000. We could all won 1,000. I mean, who cares? Who cares what we would have lost? We were going to lose it anyway because we know he's going number one. Oh, that'd be a bad beat of all time, though. Oh, the worst.
It'd be funny to have that as a bad beat on on SVP's bad beats.
Oh, man.
He's like, here's a bad beat. If Wembanyama doesn't go first and then he plays that as a bad beat, that would be hysterical, dude.
I put $100,000 on Victor Wembanyama, and he was driving to the limo that was driving him to the thing, crashed, and he broke his leg.
And the Spurs were like,
going number one anymore.
What?
He has the Zion thing. Some porn star comes out. She's a porn star.
I'll be doing the next show from Ivory Coast.
Ugh.
I'll be out. I'll be leaving. Nobody's going to find me.
Yeah, no. Anyway, Wembanyama's going to go first in about 15 minutes. I think is what we're waiting for. Mark Spears tells us his ceiling is the greatest basketball player we have ever seen. His skill set at 7 foot. He said 7'5". I know he's listed at 7'4". It doesn't really matter. At that big, it's all the same, dude. Yeah, he's huge. He's got handles. He can shoot, and he's expected to go number one to the Spurs. We've been talking a lot about the Warriors acquiring Chris Paul today for a couple of picks and Jordan Poole. We will get back to that after we catch up with Larry Baer, Giants CEO, on the other side, after I tell you that this segment of Tolbert Copes is sponsored by the Golf Mart and by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the quickest, easiest place to play fantasy football. Find them in the App Store or at UnderdogFantasy.com. Larry Baer joins us next. I'm live from the bunker in Oracle Park. It's Tolbert Copes, only here at the Sports Leader.
She's a porn star.
Melvin called last night's home plate violation by Gary Sanchez, quote, an awful call. And harsh words from a harsh man. Check out more on that story trending now on the all-new KNBR app. On everybody, Adam Copeland back here. My good friend Steve Moskowitz hanging out on the line. Steve, let everybody know about the ERC today and what they should do about it.
ERC is where the federal government is rewarding employers by giving them
up to $26,000 for every employee they had in 2020 and 21. But some people don't realize how much they're entitled to, or they're even told by their CPAs, you're not entitled to this. Or they say, I don't think it's that much, and I can't be bothered digging through endless records and going into the law office, and it's so complicated hiring an attorney. Folks, it's easy. In almost all cases, a few minutes on the phone, and we can tell you if you qualify or not. And even if your CPA said your gross revenue didn't go down enough, that's only one of two tests. There's another test that's not dependent on that, but it's dependent on your facts and circumstances. And we have multiple licensed professionals in our office that work on that to make sure that you qualify, and we only do it if we all agree you qualify. Don't leave the money on the table. It's so easy to get. And we've had clients getting millions, lots getting hundreds of thousands, and others smaller amount. Let's get every penny to which you're legally entitled.
Much, Steve. Give Steve Moskowitz a call, 1-888-TAX-DEAL, or find him online at moskowitzllp.com. We do it every couple of weeks. Catch up with Larry Baer, CEO of the Giants, 10 in a row before losing today to the Padres, but have really stacked themselves up well in the National League West. A 3-game series coming against the D-backs, and they trail them 3.5 games. Going to be a fun one tomorrow night. I'm coming out. I'm still here now from the day game earlier today. Larry Baer joins us on the UMA guest line. What's up, Larry? How are you, man?
Hi, Copes. So wait a minute. You're still here now? Well, why would you bother going home? Why don't you just, hang out?
I've been lobbying
you want
for
to
this.
Crash in my office, and then you'll be good to go for batting practice tomorrow.
I've been lobbying for that since I was like 12 years old. I was like, if I could just live at the ballpark in the off season, that would be.
You got beers in there for him?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, do we have beers in there? It's like remember the old Bochy Brandon Belt?
Need a beer, grab a beer.
Have a beer, son.
Larry,
no, but it's you could also the late great Ralph Barbieri. I remember Remember Tom had the camping adventure with Kate on our sleepovers. So any way you want to do it, Copes. But you can hang here.
Good deal. We'll figure out the logistics, and I don't think I'll be pitching it like Ralph in center field. But hey, I was just wondering this as we were coming in, because Tom and I have been talking a lot about the trade today for the Warriors. It's also draft day, and we were talking to Mark Spears earlier, and he was talking about this guy Victor Wembanyama, who they're saying maybe, I've never heard in a draft somebody say this guy might be the greatest player of all time. I'm just wondering for the Giants, at the time you've been here, because baseball is such a different drafting sport. Well, the international players come over and there's hype around those guys. But when a player gets drafted, you have a while. My mom used to tell me that Will Clark was the first big Giants prospect she remembered hearing about pre-internet, where there was buzz about him and he was a high pick. Who's the do you think like I don't know, noise, excitement around the organization, around baseball? Who's the biggest first-round draft pick you think you guys have taken? Would it Ben Buster? Was it Timmy? Who do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I remember, because you think about it, I'll never forget Bryce Harper was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was in high school.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
And he was a force in sport. His force in his Las Vegas high school or prep school, or I think it may have been one of the schools. It was like an academy. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly, but everybody was talking about Bryce Harper. I mean, I think in baseball it's very different, right? Obviously, you have the multiple years of development at the minor league level. The other thing is, it's just certain, and this is a good thing. I think it's a fun thing, and really puts a premium on your front office, right? Is that like you see things, some teams see things that others don't. So one good example, you mentioned Tim Lincecum. So we ended up drafting him 10th.
Yeah.
And in whatever year that was, in the 00 something.
06, I think, because he came up in 07. Yeah.
He debuted in 07. Maybe it was 05 or 06.
Yeah.
And so the thing there was the Seattle Mariners had the 9th pick. We had the 10th pick. And he was in their backyard, right? From there, and went to University of Washington. And I think the judgment probably with the teams that didn't pick him was that, with that kind of a delivery, with that, with slight a body, right, that maybe there'd be a breakdown, at some point with, heavy inning load. And in the end of the day, just unbelievable that didn't happen. And I remember Dick Tidrow, who was very involved in our draft at the time, was that was really kind of the gut check, right? With Tidrow and obviously Brian Sabian, Bobby Evans, etc. Is could Timmy withstand the violent motion of throwing in the high 90s with that size body? And other teams didn't agree with it, especially the team that was right there watching him in their backyard. So it's just it's how do you develop over the 3 years? Does your body change? I mean, a lot of players in baseball, the bodies will change in various ways. Whereas basketball, football, you're going right in. You're jumping into the fire, and while I'm sure there's development that goes on, it's immediate.
By the way, real quick, I'm just looking at Timmy's draft. 3 picks before him at number 7, Clayton Kershaw.
There you go.
The pick right after Tim Lincecum, Max Scherzer.
Yeah, wow. That was you talk about the pitching. You talk about pitching rich draft. What was that? 06.
It was 06. Yeah, because Timmy was in the minors for very little, and Longoria went 3rd overall.
Yeah.
The first round pitching, Andrew Miller went right before Clayton Kershaw did. The pitching in the first round here is incredible.
That's insane. Yeah, that's insane. That's unbelievable. Yeah.
I think you're right, Larry.
So the draft's a different thing. I mean, it's coming up, right? It's tied to the All-Star game that week. Yeah.
I think Bryce Harper is the baseball player I can remember getting the most hype.
Yeah.
Being the number 1 pick, because you're right, he was on the cover of SI like LeBron was. Those are the first 2 high school kids I remember being on the cover of SI. Hell, we even knew, I can't remember exactly what school it was, but it's a Utah junior college. Like, we were even following him there. Like, oh, God, this guy's
He was in Nevada,
incredible.
I thought, right? He played at a JC with, like, Chris. He played with Chris Bryant or something.
No, I think the JC was in Utah.
Oh, is that right?
He went to high school in Nevada.
That's right.
Yes, yeah. I think the All-Star team was him, Bryant, and Gallo.
Yeah.
How they release a game. I mean, are you kidding me with those guys? But yeah, baseball's so different because we don't get a chance to really see him at all. I didn't know what Buster Posey looked like until he came up. I don't know what happened. I didn't know what Schmidt. I didn't know what Bailey. I didn't know what Mata. I don't know any of these guys what they look like, and that's kind of the thing I always say that sets baseball apart a little bit. And kind of the cool thing when they come up. You have no idea what their stance look like. You have no idea how they throw the ball. You have no idea how they wear their pants. You have no idea what they look like. If they walk through your backyard, you wouldn't be able to pick them out. You call the cops. Go get this guy out of here. What's he doing back here?
Yeah. Well, what we're trying to do, if you notice, you'll see it at the ballpark on the scoreboard. You'll see it in our social media. You'll see we're trying to kind of make a dent in that. It's a really good point, and where the down on the farm features, and we're showing more and more footage and showing for instance Reggie Crawford, our first first-round pick who was really a pretty amazing story. Started baseball late and just had a Tommy John, but is now throwing in the 90s and in San Jose, and we're profiling him. There was a thing on our post-game show the other night on NBC. So we're trying to make a dent in that. It will never be like football and basketball because you don't have March Madness, you don't have the same thing. I mean, the College World Series is getting a lot more attention these days, but the good news, we were really very very gratified when Schmidt and Bailey and this wave of young players that have come along, Matos, of course, and when they showed up here in San Francisco, I mean, there was Monday night first game for Luis Matos, for instance, and then when Bailey and Schmidt previously in the last homestand, I mean, their fans were on it. They were good. In fact, we were seeing with Buster today, and he was commenting about that. Yeah. So. That the fans were really engaged with the young players, which is a really good thing.
This homestand, I'm seeing that a lot. I mean, this homestand, it seems like people are. I said to Tom this weekend, that sweep against the Dodgers, I was up at the North Beach Festival, and people even on Monday night or Tuesday night, were pouring into bars and had Giants gear on, and I was like, dude, it's that summertime feeling. People know the players. It's the team's playing well. You know who they are each and every night. You're getting excited. I mean, today was a tough game, but it was kind of cool looking at the lineup. Going, there are 5 guys in the lineup who it's their first or second year, and the team is got a shot at first place after this weekend.
Right, and the thing, and that's right. And the other thing that we don't want to overlook, because we talk about that also here. Another thing we talk about is these players, the young players, have provided a lot of energy and given us a lot of boost. But we don't want to forget some of the veteran players have really had terrific runs here in this stretch of this 10-game winning streak. I mean, you look at Yaz and Brandon Crawford and J.D. Davis and Tyro and Jock and Slater and the pitching with Doval, and who's not really a veteran, but he seems like a veteran compared to some of the others, who's having an all-star season, and Webb and Cobb. I mean, we're getting some really great performances. So what I personally like about it is it's a blend, right, of the veterans, and some of them are young veterans, but the veterans and the folks we're talking about, they've just come up and infused a lot of energy.
Yeah, let's talk about the young guys. Heck with the old guys.
I'm talking Bailey. Let's talk more Bailey. Yeah,
you're interested in over 20. Anybody over 25?
No, I appreciate I appreciate the vets. This had to be, as far as attendance, this had to be the best homestand of the year by far, wasn't it? I mean, the crowds look great out there.
Yeah. Really great, and a shout out to the fans. I mean, I think the fans have sort of saw it too. There was a bit of an inflection point. So on a Monday night, the old Gary Radnich, Monday night against Montreal, nobody's going to come.
What are you going to watch Michael Barrett taking it bad on Monday night, huh?
I mean, Monday night, 35,000 people welcomed the Giants home, and it's been really great. Today we were basically at sellout. We were at just 39,000 or so. You couldn't have sold too many more tickets. And we're going to have a big weekend against the Diamondbacks now. So it's been super gratifying, and it really sets the stage for a really fun summer here at the ballpark.
Well,
and also the other thing is bringing San Francisco back. I mean, we've had with all the back and forth about San Francisco and shutdowns and people. I mean, the thing is, people are coming into the city for games, right? And that's fantastic.
That's what the city needs, man. We need that. We need a reason to come to the city, and the Giants are that reason. Especially tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. If they sweep the D-backs, they're a half game out going into Monday. By the way, Arizona won today. They won yesterday, but they played a 1-game in Washington. They played a 3-game series in Milwaukee, so they've been in 2 different cities and 2 time zones coming into tomorrow. Giants get an early off from today, so try to get some rest and get back at it. Should be a fun weekend.
Get ready for the Reds, too. We play the Reds. I mean,
I ain't afraid of the Reds. I ain't worried about the Reds.
Games,
right? I'm not worried about
the Reds in July.
I don't sweat the Reds. Come on. What do they want, a 2-game lead? Then we'll go back to Cincinnati. We'll see what happens, huh?
There we go.
All right, Larry. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks, man.
Okay. Sounds good. Great catching up, guys.
Good stuff.
Thanks, Larry.
All right. Good stuff. Giants do lose today, but tough to feel bad about the way things are going. Plus, tough to focus on a 10-0 loss when Chris Paul has been traded to the Golden State Warriors, and we got the NBA draft getting ready to start. Has Wembanyama been picked yet? I'm in the bunker. I have no TV access.
I don't know. I'm watching. I actually need to switch it over. I was watching Wake Forest and LSU, a little college
ball,
series,
huh?
So Let me see. I will switch it over.
I was going to say I'm in the bunker, so I don't have TV access. But I guess if we were in the studio, you would say you don't have TV access.
I don't. They're showing Wembanyama right now. So
is he wearing a Spurs hat?
He might be the. I think he's the best available right now. I think Jay Billis has it.
What are their needs?
Has the best available. Needs somebody 7'4". Incredible handle for a 7'4".
We need the greatest player of all time. Is what we need.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it is. I will say. The hype is the hype. He's going to be what he's going to be. But I will say this: watching a guy that tall move like he does, this guy makes
weird.
Rudy Gobert look small. I mean, you know how awkward Rudy Gobert can look sometimes?
Yeah.
Like he just looks gangly. Sort of. Yeah, exactly. Like just, like a big guy. He's like a big guy and he doesn't have much of an offensive game at all.
That was Holmgren's thing. He was athletic.
Dunk it.
Yeah.
And this guy's taller. Like he makes Rudy Gobert look like an off guard. And this guy's out there crossing people over, shooting the Dirk fadeaway from like 20 feet. As you said, getting 3-point shots off, then getting the follow-up rebound, tip dunk. It's like,
who can do that?
You're like, what? Like, what's going on
it's
here?
It's like if Sean Bradley had Steph Curry's skill set. Yeah,
it's insane.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, because Bradley, all those guys that are that tall, they're all gangly.
Yeah.
They just look, the guy can run.
Chet Holmgren's like that. He's like a twig.
Smooth. Yeah, he's smooth. No, Chet Holmgren.
He's athletic, but he's really skinny.
Yeah, but he's not like
he can run, though.
Like, yes, he looks like an athlete when he runs. But this guy's the same thing. But he's 7'5", 7'4.5", whatever he is. It's like, no, I will say this. San Antonio is going to be on national TV a lot next year. A lot. And there's only one reason. That team was awful last year. And I don't know how much better they're going to be this year. Probably marginally better. I don't even know if they'll make the play-in game. But you're going to see a lot of them on national TV because who doesn't want to see this guy? I can't wait to watch this guy play. This is something we have never, ever seen before in the NBA. Ever seen on a basketball court. So, of course, I want to check this guy out, see how good he is. And everybody loves watching greatness. So, yeah, get ready for some more Spurs. You got your respite. You got a few years off from Spurs, about 6-7 years off from Spurs. Now, Spurs are back, baby, and you're going to be watching them again.
And it also has that sort of, it has that Japanese baseball player, Cuban baseball player feel to it where they come over and they've already been playing, right? And we haven't seen them because they weren't recruited to go, they didn't do a national signing day when they were 14 or 16 years old or 17 years old to go play college football and then follow his career up a depth chart and then transfer to a school where he wins a national championship and he's on ESPN all the time and then he gets drafted. So we know what the skill set is, even with a guy like Chet Holmgren. Gonzaga was on national TV for college basketball all the time because that's a big program, and he was one of the best players in the nation. So we knew what he was like. Paolo Banchero, same sort of thing. I've only seen clips of this guy. I've never seen I've seen a highlight video. I haven't seen him run the floor back and forth a whole bunch. I haven't seen him try to close out a game or him back somebody down in the post. I don't even know what his skill set is outside of the size and athleticism that are freakish, but that's kind of what Kevin Durant was like. That reminds me of, like, nobody at 6'11", people said that about Durant, right? I mean, that he was almost what Chet Holmgren size is now. People say Durant's a footer, and he could dribble and shoot, and he's a unicorn, is what they say. So if we're talking like that skill set, but like more of a high flyer and 5 inches taller, that's wild. That's wild.
It is wild.
Because Durant's unstoppable.
I watched one of the Euro games just because he was playing. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched half. Yeah, just watching him run, you're like, wow, that's different. Watching a guy that can run like that. And then you watch him dribble, you're like, oh, damn, he's got a little handle, too. And I watched him dribble down and pull up in some dude's face from 25 bucket. I was like, God dang. He's serious? Like that's
some poor Serbian kid? Yeah, he's like, damn.
Yeah,
you kidding me?
It's just different. It's just different. And, again, I don't know if their first game's going to be on national TV. I don't know if they're going to get that far because that's for the big boys that have played in the finals and the conference finals and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
night.
He'll be on national TV relatively quickly, and I always get the package anyway. So whatever their first game is, I'll be watching it just to check it out. Here comes a commissioner. So let me give you a second here while the commissioner, I'm assuming, says, "Hey, everybody, welcome to the Barclays Center and the 2023
we'd like to thank our corporate sponsors and
NBA draft and the first pick in the NBA draft." See, we could have won $1,000.
Was it Villiana?
That simple.
Breaking news.
It would have been that simple. Just the boom. You would have said,
God, dude, we should have done
it. If I was sitting here like this, oh, baby. Oh. That was stressful. That was stressful, but I knew it, but it was so stressful. But
oh, man.
There you go. Could have had easy money right there. We all knew he was going number one. Yeah, this dude is large. Like, he's just walking by guys, and it's comical how tall he is.
7'4". That's not. We don't see that. Like, they're just not guys like that. Victor, we'll let you know who's going number 2 too. We're gonna take a quick break. Baby. We'll come on back and let you know who goes number 2 and number 3. The Miller thing is so funny.
Bro hug. I mean, does he do? I don't know if he does the bro hug like Roger Goodell does. That's the most.
Goodell gets in there.
That's the most uncomfortable part of the NFL draft. Is the bro hug.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have audio of Goodell when he hugs the players.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, that's what he says when he daps up. He daps up like some 300-pound offensive tackle.
Oh, he did.
Out of Wichita.
He did give him the, and then he gives him the. What's that all about?
He gives him the dap and the
bro
hug.
You know, the bro hug where you like go in for the hug and the handshake.
Yeah.
And then after that, he gives him the regular handshake, like the gentleman's handshake.
An uncomfortably long one?
Yeah, let his arm go, okay? Crying out loud.
It'd be funny if Wembanyama reached over and kissed him on the head.
Me uncomfortable.
Like his bald head. He just kisses him.
What if he rubbed it like a genie rubs it like a lamp? Oh. All right, let's go.
I'm telling you, man, he's that Slugworth-looking commissioner, dude, working against Willy Wonka. All right, on the other side, Chris Paul. Well, now the Spurs fans feel like Warrior fans do. They get Wembanyama. Warrior fans get Chris Paul. Jordan Poole traded to the Wizards. A couple of picks, 2030 first rounder and a 2027 second rounder go out to the Wizards. Chris Paul is here. Does the Chris Paul acquisition to you mean that Draymond Green is absolutely coming back? We'll figure out that on the other side. Tolbert and Copes, only here on the Sports Leader.
Milpitas, shout out to you for supporting KNBR. Milpitas' Sports Leader.
Warriors have pulled off a big trade. Jordan Poole going to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Chris Paul. More on that story is trending on the all-new KNBR app.
They're Tolbert and Copes, or Tom Tolbert and Adam Copeland if you want to be formal about it. Got Google Nest? If so, listen to the sports leader at home. This is KNBR 104.5 and 680.
I'm not going to comment on the roster because very much because the truth is we have a lot of work to do, obviously, and we have time. We have until the draft and free agency, which is a month away or so. So we're going to win no matter what. I don't care what the rules are. We are going to figure out a way to do it. That's what good organizations do. They figure out a way to win the game. And our game is to win games and to win championships. It cracks me up. I'm not going to talk about it because it doesn't matter what the roster is. It doesn't matter what the rules are. I don't care if they change them.
We're going to win.
We're going to win. I don't care if they change it to basketball. We're playing that. We'll win.
Because that's what we do.
I will win championships, whether it's me or Peter Gruber taking the threes. We'll do it if I have to. I'm a team member. I don't care what the rules are. I don't care. I don't care what the rules are is the... that should be on every owner's epitaph of any sports team when they pass. Every guy, you don't get to be the owner of a professional sports franchise without by following all the rules and being nice to everybody. But the Warriors are changing the game. They did it on the court, and now they're changing rules in terms of salary cap stuff and what you are and are not allowed to do. And that's kind of, I think, what Joe's talking about, where he's like, I don't give a damn, dude. I don't care what they do. If we've changed it, we'll play within those parameters. I don't care what the rules are. That's great. Keep that close, man. Dude, basically last night, that's what, it's kind of what Bob Melvin said after that play at the plate. He was like, dude, I don't even know what the rules are anymore in baseball.
If you could lip read, he's saying, I don't care. That was BS.
He's like, dude, just
know it.
Run
that
me,
was
dude.
BS.
Yeah, they were like, dude, we don't know. We called him safe. We said he's out.
Yeah, it's like, what do you want from us? It's like, I love when the in the NFL or college football, the head coach is just bitching at the official on the sideline, like the side judge.
Yeah.
He didn't even make the call.
He didn't make the call, dude. He's like,
why are you yelling at me?
He's like spotting the ball.
I didn't throw the flag.
He was running with his hand up.
And then I love it too when they're like jawing on, just chewing on their ears, and it's like it's gone to replay. So yeah, you could tell he went out here and he did it. What do you want me to do about it? Replay.
I don't care what the I don't care. Yeah. You're ready for this?
Why?
It's a principle of the thing, Tom. It's
the
the principle. It's the same as we talked about. You're yelling at the wrong guy. He's not even the guy who called it.
They didn't set the policy. They're just answering your phone calls.
Oh, it's like anybody now is like, Bob Myers, like, don't yell at me. I didn't make that trade today. If you're upset about that. He made a lot of trades, and he made a lot of big ones. And this is a pretty big one. This is a huge trade to make for Mike Dunleavy in his first week as general manager, and then he's got the draft tonight, and he's got free agency to figure out. And obviously, the top of free agency is Draymond. In my mind, there's no way this trade happens if you don't know Draymond's coming back. Where are you on that?
Well, I mean, yeah,
or have a lot of confidence.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's where they're at. I would agree that you're bringing him in to help you win now. A lot has to do with Draymond and what he'll get offered or what teams are coming after him. And by the way, Brandon Miller, number 2 to the Charlotte Hornets. So I'm assuming that means Scoot Henderson's going to go 3 to the Trailblazers, just what they need, another guard.
What Lillard wanted, right?
It wouldn't surprise. Well, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they traded that pick for maybe a veteran or two, but we'll see. So Brandon Miller goes 2 to the Charlotte Hornets.
He was like talking trash to Jordan at his workout. You saw that?
That makes sense.
He was talking trash to TJ. He's like, "Hey, he airballed a free throw. He's old." I was like, "Damn, they're definitely going to draft you now."
Don't do that. You're not going to. He's going to be like no shoes for you.
I was like, "What is going
Jordans
on,
for
dude?"
you. But no, that makes sense, and I think he was coming back anyway. But again, there's always that slight chance that someone signs him to a contract that you weren't expecting and makes it tough for you to sign him. But no, I do expect him back, and I do expect they made this move in not just in hopes, but in the feeling in the room was he is coming back. They're pretty certain he was coming back because this is a win now type deal. This isn't Chris Paul's going to be here in 3 years and help you win then. This is basically a 2-year deal, maybe 1. And maybe they could sign him next year, don't guarantee the next year of his contract and then sign him to 2 more. But he's going to be 40 next year. He's 39 this year.
Yeah,
so.
I think also, because remember you said you thought maybe more, and maybe this is where some more of this value for Jordan Poole comes from, because you were saying, I thought you may be able to get more for him, but if this was the value is what you get. You always say that. The value is what's out there. I mean, that's what they valued him at. But they took the contract, and that's where I see the value. Like, sometimes that's what you're getting, where you're taking the aging player. They had nothing in Chris Paul. They were shopping him around, maybe seeing what somebody would give him for him, and then they could cut him loose if they had to. But he wasn't there to help them at all because, to your point, he's a 39-year-old. I think the same goes for Draymond, in that he's going to a team, if he were to leave, that overpays him and can probably help them win in the immediate. What I think Jordan Poole's extra value here is this may give you a little bit more flexibility to offer a little bit more money to Draymond Green, where you can play with things a little bit more on the back end potentially, just because you don't have to pay Poole through 2027 at $100+ million. Possibly.
I don't even know if they want to do that, though. I mean, Draymond's getting up there too. He's not 39.
You don't want to pay him for years and years. I think I would overpay for a couple of years. I would, or 2 to 3. I'm not looking for anything really beyond 3 with Draymond.
No, I don't think they're looking for anything at 3. Like,
ideally
I'd be
2,
shocked
but he's
if
not
they
taking
went.
2. Yeah.
I'd be shocked if they went to 4.
I think he needs 3.
I think 3 is probably the sweet spot. Like, I'm thinking 3 for 90 max. Yeah. I think they'd like, somewhere maybe between 375 and 3 and 90. I don't know what it's going to be, but right in there. And Scoot Henderson did get drafted 3rd overall. That's quite a suit. That's woof. That looks like something Elvis might wear. That's wild. So he's going to the Portland Trailblazers. Whew. Definitely an Elvis jacket. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, it is. Let's win now, and let's give ourselves some flexibility going forward. And Draymond's part of that. I mean, you can't be any more clear about it than your head coach getting on the podium and saying, we are not a championship team without him. That's about as clear as you can be. You don't think you could win a championship if you don't have this guy. So, yeah, that is definitely priority number 1, and maybe number 2 as well. And I got to think that they are. I mean, if you believe Joe, they're in the business of winning championships, and they're going to have to come up with something. And I don't think Draymond's going to take a little bit more to try and go somewhere else. Like, he might try to squeeze him for a couple extra dollars. Right. That's negotiating. That's what you do. Draymond realizes this is going to be the last contract he gets of significance. Like, he may go somewhere else and, get a smaller contract, but he's not getting a contract like this anymore. This is going to be it. So you try to get as much money as you can.
That's my fear, is the 4th year from somebody.
Knowing that you want to come back. I mean, that's just negotiating. Like, the Warriors aren't going to offer him their best offer the first time. They're trying to get the best deal possible. Players trying to get as much money as possible. That's how you negotiate. Right. You go back and forth, and then you meet at something, ideally, that both parties like, and both parties feel like, oh, I wish I would have done a little bit better on that. Like, that's always the best deal, where everyone's happy but not completely satisfied.
That's usually what they say is the best trade, or the best compromise, where nobody's happy.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's happy. Like I always say, officials are doing a great job, but nobody's happy. Everybody's bitching and complaining out there. Because I've never seen a game where everybody's happy. Like, hey, you guys are doing a great job out here. Well done. Keep it up. The best you can hope for is everybody thinks you stink. So at least it's both sides. I still wonder about this. And this is when I was thinking about the trade, and I thought they could get more for it. It wasn't necessarily another player, like a better player. I thought they could get more in terms of bodies. Like, maybe they could
You were asking for 2 guys. Yeah, you were talking.
Like 2 guys that were making 14, 15, 16, right, somewhere around there, where you can get some more depth. Because this does nothing for your depth problem. Nothing. I mean, even if Chris Paul can play a few more minutes in the playoffs, I mean, he's still one player. One player gone, one player coming in. So it doesn't do anything for your depth problem. No. Kuminga's still got to be a guy. I don't know if he's going to be a guy. We'll see who they draft tonight. I'm going with Jaquez Jr. I think it'll be somebody like him that's been in college for at least 2, if not 3 years, that's going to be a vet. But I think it's going to be that type of player who could come in and maybe play some rotational minutes. Moody is going to be a guy who will be a rotational guy.
Yeah.
Can they get somebody else in here? I don't know. We're assuming that DiVincenzo is going to be gone. But I thought maybe if they're going to trade him, they would trade him for two guys. Like trade him to a team who could use a score, has some depth, and has like a nice sixth guy or seventh and eighth guy. Like, guys that play 20 minutes a night and are good. They're solid. You're not afraid to put them in there for those 20 minutes. And occasionally they'll have better games. They get hot, you leave them in there for a little bit longer. But that's where I thought they might go, where they might just try to address their depth. Because right now they still haven't done a whole lot to address their depth. I mean, really, who do they have on the bench that you can count on? I mean, let's say Paul doesn't start just because it seems weird to try to fit him into a starting lineup that doesn't really have a place for him.
There's no way he's I bet you he comes off the bench more games than he starts.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing. So we got Paul.
Yeah.
They have GP2.
Yeah.
Moody. Kuminga.
PBJ.
If
he's playing that. I mean,
Rollins, I guess, the other rookie that was hurt last year.
But you got two guys who basically haven't played.
Yeah, and then another rookie. So I think of those, I mean, really, who are the guys you can count on to play? GP2 and CP3? CP2? CPG3? I mean,
Moody.
Yeah, Moody. Like, I like Moody, and I think Moody, I mean, that was one thing that I kept asking Steve about. Like, why isn't Moody getting in there a little bit more? I would have liked to seen him get a chance earlier, but I don't see practice. Yeah, I don't see practice. And I know Steve is a big believer that you got to earn playing time. You have to practice the right way, and when you get your chances, you have to play the right way. And eventually, he got there, so he looks like he got it, and like he's going to be a part of the rotation next year. And another thing we haven't even addressed, this is a team that's dealt with a fair amount of injuries over the last few years.
That's what I said. You said you can count on Paul. I was like, well, you mean like when he's healthy, you can count on his ability, because I don't know that you can count on Chris Paul. I don't think he'll be healthy over here.
I mean, look, Steph missed games last year.
That's the boat you're getting in.
Draymond's missed some games. So, we're talking about this as they're all like, maybe not playing-wise 25, but health-wise they're 25. And they're just going to play the season. It'll be fine. You can never try to pinpoint when an injury is going to happen, who it's going to happen to, but they have had some problems with injuries, so that's another concern. You trade a young guy who did play, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jordan Poole played every game last year. I don't think he missed a game due to injury, for someone who has missed games recently, missed the playoffs last year. So, again, this is one of those things where I like it, but there are some blemishes there you look at and go, I could see where this could go wrong.
There is an update on the trade that I don't think we had mentioned, and I had missed this part of it. We mentioned Ryan Rollins. Golden State, per Shams Charania, is also trading their 2022 second-rounder Ryan Rollins to Washington as part of that deal.
Oh, really? I didn't even see that.
I completely missed that. Tim just said, I think Rollins is part of the deal, too. I just looked it up. Shams Charania.
Okay. I know protected first is going to Washington.
Yeah, protected first. They said a second-rounder. The original report from Shams was Jordan Poole, a protected 2030 first-rounder, and a second-rounder in 2027.
That's what I saw.
For Chris Paul. And then he retweeted after that and said, Golden State is also trading second-rounder Ryan Rollins from 2022.
Okay. Hope somebody told him.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. He's like, wait, what?
Hey, bro. Yeah, we forgot
your flight, your flight's boarding.
Yeah, you missed it.
That's the Ryan Rollins was added into this deal as well. I'm seeing from other reporters here. So yeah, Ryan Rollins not on the roster, and maybe a good thing. You probably need that spot to add more like a veteran piece there. You're getting another rookie. It's a pretty young back end of that bench.
Yeah. What about Henry Rollins?
Henry Rollins
or Tree Rollins?
Tree Rollins. Yeah. I'm trying to think about Ryan Rollins. Then
you got any more Rollinses out there?
Jimmy Rollins.
Jimmy Rollins.
Jimmy Rollins,
Philly. Finest.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, that works. By the way, Chris Paul has spoken since his trade to the Warriors. We got that audio for you, and we'll play it next. Tolbert and Copes only here on the Sports Leader.
Hey everybody, Mr. T here for Alex Kugelman and the Kugelman Law Team over at sftaxteam.com. I don't know if you've heard about this. I don't know why you would. I haven't heard about it. But the IRS has recently received billions of dollars to increase enforcement and audits. That's bad news. If they receive billions of dollars, you know they're getting that money back and interest, which means if you have any tax issues, they're coming. It could be later rather than sooner, but they will not forget about you. So if you've been dealing with that stress, if you're late on your taxes for any reason, look, sometimes life just gets in the way and you need the money and you can't catch up and you're wondering, now what do I do? Set up a consultation with Alex Kugelman. He will set out a clear, concise plan, a roadmap, if you will, to stress-free taxes. That's what you want. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about going to your mailbox or answering your phone or maybe even answering your door. The IRS is coming at some point. There is no doubt about that. So you might as well head it off at the pass or wherever on the pass you may be. Get your consultation with Alex. He's very personable. He'll be able to sit you down, talk to you, and he will show you that light at the end of the tunnel. And trust me, when you can drop that bag of stress, you will feel so much better. That's sftaxteam.com, or you can just Google Kugelman, Kugelman, Kugelman Law, your tax and crypto attorneys. Alexander Kugelman, managing attorney, 21 Tamil Vista Boulevard, Suite 202, Corner Madera, California, 94925. This paid endorsement does not constitute a guarantee or prediction of results.
Listen to the sports leader anywhere, anytime. Download the all-new KNBR app. Now, Tolbert and Copes continue live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Studio. Casino Matrix progressive jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Curious, the cameras caught Steph saying something to you about this isn't 2014 anymore, and I guess after he scored a layup on you.
I don't know what happened in 2014.
But did you even hear him say? Did you see when he said that to you?
Did he say it to me?
That's what I'm asking. Did he say it to you? That's what I'm asking.
No, he didn't say it to me.
Okay.
Where you see it at?
It was caught on camera, like NBC Sports caught him saying that, hey, this ain't 2014 anymore after he scored on you on the baseline.
They showed him saying it to me?
No, they just showed him saying it. It was a close-up, so you couldn't even see who he was saying it to.
Oh. No, I don't know nothing about that 2014.
That was earlier this year.
Said it to me?
Remember stuff was yelling around the court. Everybody was all hyped about it. This ain't 2014. And you and I were even kind of like, I don't know, what happened then? Like he always lost in the playoffs. Like he doesn't have a title, which sort of makes me nervous, by Chris Paul. Remember the whole thing? I was like, kids were making fun of my daughters.
You do win a championship. The Warriors are playing the do theory. And by the way, there's some happy parents out there right now because twin brothers just got drafted 4th and 5th.
Amen
Thompson.
And Osser.
I just call him Amen Corner. And
nice.
Ausar.
Yeah.
Osser?
Yeah, Osser. Amen and Osser.
Osser.
Are they from the Bay Area, both of those kids?
Thompson. San Leandro, California.
Shout them out. My hometown. Let's go.
What the hell?
Amen and Osser. And then they went to a prep school, I think, though.
Nice.
I don't think they were playing for the Pirates.
No, I don't think they're playing for the Pirates.
So. I don't think they were.
I'm pretty sure they weren't playing for the Pirates.
Shout out Jared Cunningham, though.
Oh, that is awesome. We got all kinds of local stuff going on now. We get Brian Wu starting for Seattle Mariners in Yankee Stadium. He went to Alameda High, played baseball there.
What? How about that?
Yeah, I think Walker knows him. I think he was a year ahead of Walker.
Shout out Sam Spear, Alameda Sam.
There you go. So
good deal. By the way, it's third another one. John Miller, when he was leaving, I started talking to him during the break. I was late to get back to Mark Spears, and Tom said, "Oh, you went a little long with John, huh?" And I was talking to John, and my mom's a teacher in Hayward. He goes, "Oh, you're an East Bay guy, San Leandro. My dad was a teacher in San Leandro." Anyway, we started talking East Bay. We were talking like me and John were talking streets in Hayward for about 5 minutes there, which was funny. Chris Paul traded to the Warriors today for 2 future picks, a second rounder in 2027, a protected first rounder in 2030. I don't know what the protections are yet. And then Ryan Rollins was moved out there as well. Chris Paul comes on back, and we have, I guess he sat down with a reporter here, and the reporter is Scott Fowler, and they just had a back and forth a little bit about finding out he was traded yet again for the second time in the last 3 or 4 days. Chris Paul, first thoughts on being a Warrior.
What is your reaction to being traded to Golden State today?
Excited. I got that question I don't know how many times already, so I'm really excited.
You spoke with Steph, it sounds like, already, and how did that go?
It was good, yeah.
What do you think your role will be on that team?
To help us win games.
Okay.
It's all smiles.
Very insightful.
It's all smiles the day you trade. Yeah, well, I'm trying to help us win. Us. Cracks me up, man.
Somebody should have asked him. They go, "Do you remember that video clip when you and Steve were laughing at each other, and then you turned your head and then stopped laughing?"
Dude, it's like one of the funniest memes. Yeah, it's like, yeah, no, it's okay. He's like pointing at him, laughing. Dude, one of the most humiliating things someone can do to you. Well, you tell a joke, you laugh, they laugh. They're like, no,
it's hilarious.
No. Yeah.
Dave, I used to love it when David Letterman used to do that. Oh, brother.
So Chris Paul, now a Warrior. There's a handful of trades that went down yesterday. We talked about Porzingis going to Boston, Marcus Smart out of Boston. It goes to Memphis, and I think that's a huge trade for Memphis as they move on from Dillon Brooks and they sort of reset their defensive mentality. That team.
Well, it's more leadership.
Yeah, for sure.
I think defense. Dillon Brooks could D up on anybody. Like that wasn't his problem.
No.
He couldn't shoot. Look, he can't shoot at all either.
He caused more problems.
Yeah, exactly. He's not a great shooter, but he can make shots. Like Smart can make shots. He can hit some threes for you. Dillon Brooks was he was a human brick. I mean, that guy couldn't make a shot hardly.
Yeah.
But they so desperately needed leadership in that locker room, and I guarantee you they were thinking, look, we got to get Ja right. Like we got to get somebody in here who will tell him the way it is and not what he wants to hear, and doesn't feel like, oh, he's the star of the team, so I can only say, no, this dude's going to come at him. That's just who Marcus Smart is, and that's what they need. He can play, too. He's not just there to do that. That guy can play. He's a defensive player of the year, and when you have him and then Jackson, you have a defensive player of the year on the perimeter and a defensive player of the year protecting the bucket. That's pretty stout defensively. And when Ja gets back, he'll slide over. I mean, maybe they bring Bane off the bench. Maybe they slide him to 3. I'm not sure. But the they're going to need what he gives them on the court, but this was simply about we are kind of a rudderless ship right now, and we got a lot of talent. We have no direction, and we have no leadership, and we need to get somebody in here that can turn that around and make these guys not only believe they can do it, because they probably believe it falsely. They shouldn't believe it because they haven't done anything, but make them see how hard you have to work to get it done and stay on that track, because that's who Marcus Smart is. They've never won the ultimate prize, but they've been to it. I think he knows what it takes, and he's a guy that's going to push them. He's going to tell them not what they want to hear, but what they need to hear. I think that was the biggest trade, like, out of the two for one team, that side. Because I don't know what Boston's. I know what they're getting out of it. I know Porzingis. I've never been a huge fan of his. Just something about him wasn't quite.
I liked him early on, but then he kind of plateaued.
Yeah, it just didn't hit me.
I think. Yeah,
him and Luka never. That never was going to work. It never did work. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work, to be perfectly honest. But to me, if I were to look at Memphis, Warriors, Boston, because they're the ones that each got something. I won't count Washington because what they got is future. I mean, they're hoping Tyus Jones can be continue to blossom as a point guard. Jordan Poole can do his thing and have room to grow and freedom to grow. And so they're looking for maybe playing next year, but really to be competitive a couple of years from now is what they're looking at. I mean, Memphis, Boston, and the Warriors all want to win a championship. They all want to win a championship. And if I had to rank them who helped themselves get closer to a championship, that's a tough one. I'd probably say Warriors because I think they're closer than Memphis anyway. Even though I like Marcus Smart a lot, I think Paul gives them, again, we've talked about it, the IQ, the leadership, the toughness. And he can still make shots and he can play. Not like he can't play at all. I may be making it seem that way. Yeah. He's just not nearly as good as he once was, but he still gives them all that other stuff. I would put them number one, Memphis number two, because I just don't think they were as close as the Warriors anyway. And then Boston, even though they might have the best chance to win, possibly, I don't know how much Porzingis helps. I could be proven dead wrong on that one. He may come in there and light it up, and they just work beautifully together. I just don't know. I don't see it quite yet, but they're all impactful trades for one reason or another.
I didn't even see this part of the deal. I guess it's part of the three-team trade yesterday between Boston, Washington, and Memphis. So Porzingis goes from Washington to the Celtics. Marcus Smart goes to the Grizzlies from Boston, and then Tyus Jones, as you mentioned, goes to the Wizards. The other details here is that there's picks. You mentioned there are 2 first-rounders that went. Memphis sent Boston a first-round pick in today's draft, their first-rounder, the 25th overall. And apparently Memphis had the Warriors pick
correct
next year, and was that part of what trade is
that?
Is that the Iguodala trade? Yeah, that was what I was thinking. They moved him. That was such a weird deal, dude.
It was a weird
barely
deal.
was there. Yeah, so they gave them their first rounder, but it's top 4 protected for the Warriors next year. Boy, sure hope the Warriors don't finish in the bottom 4 this year. That'd be
well, if it is, they get to keep it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That'd be an absolute bummer, though.
Just don't finish 5th.
That would be the
worst.
Yeah, that'd be the worst. Also, this cracked me up. Danilo Gallinari's going from the Celtics along with Mike Muscala.
Yes.
I was like, dude, has Gallinari been involved in every trade the NBA's had in the last 15 years?
He doesn't play.
Still around, never plays, but his money.
I don't play, but I have a big salary. Go ahead and trade me.
Makes it easy. Match it up. The NBA, it's the only place that happens. Yeah, we'll take more money for a guy who doesn't play.
Dude, Keith Van Horn was retired and they traded him. Or he was going to be retired, but he wasn't officially retired. So they used his salary to trade him, and then he didn't have to show up. It was like, how great is that? Yeah, man, we want to trade you, and I know you get traded, you get an extra like $3 million kicker. Do you mind if we do that just for salary cap purposes? Yeah, that sounds awesome to me. That'd be super, super cool. Honey, guess what? Oh, sorry, nothing. I'm just kidding.
I'm at 1.5.
I
got 1.5 million.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
I get 500,000. It's going to be incredible.
That's unreal. That's unreal.
That's awesome. Though.
Anyway, the draft is underway right now. Wembanyama goes number 1. Miller went 2. Who went 3? Oh,
number 3 was Scoot Henderson.
Scoot Henderson went 3,
and then
the
Thompson brothers went 4 and 5.
Oscar and Amon Thompson went 4 and 5. We'll let you know of any of the other big picks that happened before the show's over in 10 minutes. We'll hand it over to FP Santangelo on the other side. Tolbert Copes, only here on the Sports Leader. Giants' 10-game winning streak came to an end today. A big thud, losing 10-0 to the Padres. That story and more, if you want to read any of it, it's trending on KNBR.com. Everybody, Adam Copeland here. Been telling you all week, get ready for Saturday night. Westside Promotions is presenting Boxing Night of Champions here in San Francisco at the Cow Palace, Saturday, June 24th, just a couple of days away. They're bringing boxing back to the Bay Area at the historic Cow Palace. Been host to so many famous events. Tickets are still available at westside-promotions.com. That's westside-promotions.com. You can also live stream at westside-promotions.com. Fights are featuring Fernando Vargas Jr. and the Vargas Dynasty, Evan Young, Holyfield, and the Filipino sensation Jacob Makalui. You do not want to miss this. Again, get your tickets at westside-promotions.com. They're also going to be honoring a WBC Night of Champions, honoring James Lights Out Tony, 1984 Olympic heavyweight gold medalist Henry Tillman, and Michael, second to none. Get your tickets now at westside-promotions.com. Boxing is back in the Bay Area. Westside Promotions bringing Boxing Night of Champions. Doors open at 4, first bout at 5:30. Find out more at westside-promotions.com.
All right, time to get on out of here. Warriors will be up probably about an hour or so, I'm guessing. Pick 19 in the draft.
Good spot.
Trades to talk about. Giants 3 out of 4 got blasted today, but hey, 3 out of 4, hell of a run so far, and then they got the D-backs. That's going to be a really, really fun series. I'm excited to sit down and watch that over the weekend. FP Santangelo joins us. Find out what he has going on up until 10. FP, what's going on?
What's up, dude?
What's shaking, fellas? How we doing?
Doing good. Just I told FP that I want to thank the Giants for today. I did win 10-0 or lose 10-0. There was so much NBA going on. I was like, yeah, that's a good time. Just you 3 out of 4. Well done. Move on. Let's get the D-backs in town.
Well, generally, when those streaks end, it's going to be a big thud, right? Because it takes a lot of energy to come from behind on the road. It takes a lot of energy to come from behind at home. And then to win 10 in a row, it's hard to win 1 in a row at the major league level. So when you win 10 in a row, when those things end, usually, and I said it last night, it's going to be like a 13-0 game when this thing ends, just because you're so drained. And I think more mentally with the celebrations in the clubhouse and everybody going nuts.
Walk-offs. And the emotion of being down and coming back late, it's a lot of it.
The roller coaster these guys have been on. So, yeah, it wasn't going to end pretty. It really never does. Watch when did the Reds win today? I didn't even check yet.
I don't think the Reds played today.
I'm sick of the Reds already.
I think they were.
Their thing's going to come to a thud too when that happens. So it's just kind of how it goes. And
I can't wait.
I can't wait to. I don't
I'm sick of the Reds. Yeah.
They play the Braves tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Thank God. David Bell gets ejected like every game.
I love David Bell though.
He does have his players back big time.
My favorite number 28 Giant before Buster Posey, David Bell. 1 year is a good Giant.
Yeah, apparently he's a wonderful teammate as a player, and the guys love playing for him in Cincinnati. But, yeah, they got their stuff together, and, today was just one of those days. I thought it was going to be a hard day game after a night game to come out, and the Padres did their thing and would walk guys. And that thing had to end sometime, and now you just regroup, and you got a big series against the Diamondbacks. Let's go.
Yeah, 3 out of 4, no worries. Still rolling. Yeah, we got some good series this weekend. We got the Braves and the Reds. That's going to be a good series to watch. Mariners, Orioles, not so much. We have Rangers, Yankees, not so much either.
No pitching.
We do have the Astros, Dodgers. That's a good one, and then the Diamondbacks and the Giants. Those are three really, really good series to watch this weekend. Because I've watched the Reds a few times. They're fun. They're a fun team to watch, and I kind of root for teams that have sucked forever. To see them come up, and Ellie De La Cruz is super fun to watch.
He's a blast.
Yeah, but this one, the whole, I was saying, FP, the whole last, I don't know, week and a half has had some electricity. Even though the Cardinals are not good, it's still the Cardinals and Giants, and that means something, especially if you live here. Then, I don't need to say anything, Dodgers, Giants. And then you get the Padres. Even though the Padres aren't great right now, it's still kind of the big money Padres with all the names against the Giants who don't have a lot of names but are just winning and winning and winning and winning. So that was fun. And then you get this team, Arizona, who just refuses to lose. And they've been really, really good the first half of the season against the team who's the hottest team in the division. So it's just been fun. Watching the young guys, watching the team, the way they've been winning, winning big, winning from behind, winning late, all those sort of things. So again, I think there was a reflection of it in the stands the last 4 days.
Yeah.
Where 30+ thousand people were out there watching the games, and I just think, it's a confluence of things. It's the teams playing better. They've been exciting. I think the young guys are a huge factor in that. The people are like, oh, this is kind of fun. We got some fresh blood in here. We're winning baseball games. And then it's the Dodgers. And then all of a sudden it's like, damn, I've kind of missed coming out here, missed coming out to the ballpark. Let's go out there. And I think it's pretty cool to see the stands full again.
Yeah, this isn't official, but I was talking to some Giants people, and I think there was 4,000 walk-ups for Monday's game. And you talk about 139,406.
The buzz is real, man. You've been out here, FP. You feel it. You see it before the when the gates open, and you always know when the game starts, and still herds of people are trying to get in. You see it at Momo's. It's different. You see people walking from Bart. It happens in the summertime, and Larry said it to us earlier. It's good to have people coming back to the city, but we really haven't had that since pre-COVID. I mean, don't forget about the 98-loss season followed up by another 80-plus loss season. Things had sort of fallen apart a little bit before COVID, and now You've got a core of guys who people know are in the lineup every day. They know they're homegrown. It's been a fun vibe. There were some Let's Go Giants on the ramp on the way out last night. It was. Cool. It was cool, man. I hadn't heard that in a while.
It's tangible.
Yeah,
the electricity is tangible right now. And that's the best attendance for a 4-game series. You guys probably talked about it since June 2018. The 139,000. So, yeah, everyone's excited. You can feel it at the ballpark.
2018?
Since 2018. Since
there you
June,
go. That's exactly what I was saying. That's
2018.
Exactly that's the year.
For a 4-game series, that's the highest attendance since June of 2018.
That says a lot because they won 107 games 2 years ago. So people are starting to get like, hey, let's get back to the ballpark. We remember how we used to go to the ballpark before the pandemic? Yeah.
The place we went.
Yeah, maybe. And then the pandemic came, and then they weren't very good. And then they were really good one year, and then they weren't very good last year. It's like, hey, it's kind of nice. And then, I can't quantify it, but I think 3 young guys coming up has a lot to do with it because who doesn't get excited about watching young guys? Like, they're like new, the shiny toys, and they came from your system, and they're ours, and they're playing well, and I want to get out there and watch these guys play, and they're winning. Like, it's all kind of coming together, and I think it just even watching it on TV, it makes for a more fun experience.
Fans are standing at the end of games. You see the stands full. I love that look,
feels
man.
that.
It's cool.
Yeah, I think everybody feels that.
Giants fans are really East Coast in the sense where they cheer for something to happen. A lot of markets and a lot of organizations, a lot of cities, they're reactive. They cheer once something happens. But a lot like Boston, Philadelphia, New York, Giants fans, when it's an 0-2 count, they're cheering for strike 3. They're on their feet. They want something to happen. Then when it happens, we high five and say, that was us. We did it. And, they're into it, and it's really cool to see. The only negative is like right around section 119 where the garlic fries are, there's a huge bottleneck right there now.
Yeah, there is.
It's like, where there was no traffic during
that line backs up in there.
Now there's traffic at the ballpark on the concourse. I was getting claustrophobic walking around yesterday with my friends. I was
right lane merges right. Yeah,
can we just stop winning? This sucks.
I cheer against things to happen. I like to be that guy.
Do you really?
Yeah, because I like to play the don't pass line at the craps table, so I'm that guy.
Oh, you're that guy. Okay.
I want to be the one guy in the section.
Which table are you playing? Cool. I'm going to go play that table.
Boo! Yay!
I don't need that energy. I don't need that don't pass line energy in my life.
No, I hate that.
I hate that guy.
I never cheer though. I never cheer. What do you got going on tonight, FP?
I cheered in the press box last night. The other night.
Can't do that.
Yeah, I know. Jock Peterson hit a home run to tie it up, and I was cheering. I had my arms in the air, and everyone was looking at me. I'm like, oh, not supposed to cheer in the press box. They were laughing at me. I got Blake Sable's coming on around 6:45 tonight.
Nice.
Russ Stanley, Senior Vice President, Ticket Sales and Services for the Giants, going to get you all ready for the weekend series. Kerry Keating is going to talk some Warriors basketball in the trade today for the State Farm guy.
Nice.
I'm super excited to talk about that. And then Carlos Ramirez is coming on. So we got lots of guests tonight. It's a highly booked show and very highly anticipated. You don't want to miss it.
No, you do not. Have a good time, Effie.
Thanks, Tom. I snagged a beer from the refrigerator, one of your beers. So
yeah,
thanks,
please do.
Dude.
Help yourself.
Thanks.
Help yourself.
Whoa, those are mine.
Enjoy. Enjoy.
I help myself. I owe you guys a beer.
No, you don't owe us anything. They're all good.
All right.
Don't worry about it.
See you, bro.
Enjoy.
See you guys.
Enjoy. Have a good show, Effie.
Thank you.
All right, man. Let's thank our guests today. There was only 2 of them. There was Larry Bear, who we talked to, and Mark Spears.
There you go.
I was going to say, how can I bring 2 guests?
I was going to say Manscape is our...
Manscape.
I was going to say that is our clue.
That would have been sad. Thank you very much, Derek. Great job today.
Good work.
Always fun. And Tim, always fun. Good job. Although I'm very disappointed. And Tim mentioned it to me. And just inexcusable on my part that I couldn't remember when I was mentioning the 2 twins that got drafted, the Thompson twins. And the band, the Thompson Twins.
Hold me now.
Thank you. Thank you, FP. I didn't even come up with that. I'm very disappointed in my. Not that I was a huge Thompson Twin fan, but I know that song. Yeah. There was Doctor. There's that one.
Yeah, let's go. Raph, let's go. Get some Thompson Twins going.
Yeah, let's go. That's
for no reason.
Right.
They were drafted by like Houston and Detroit. Let's get it going.
Oh, man.
Have a good show, FP.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, Copes. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, don't do it tomorrow.
All right, stay tuned. Tomorrow we'll probably talk a little more Warriors as the draft happens. It's happening tonight, and they're probably going to draft them in another hour or so. So they will fill out their roster unless they make other wild moves. Hell, there may be more trades than that we'll talk about, and we will definitely get you ready for the Giants and the D-backs. That is going to be a fun one this weekend. Coming up, FP Santangelo. He takes you right up until 10 o'clock right